Welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to show you some cool things you can do with voicing in fifths. So voicing in fifths is a simple concept that applies mostly to seventh chords, and it goes the following. Here's a C major seventh, and it's made out of C, E, G, and B. Now I'm going to take this E and B and play it up an octave. So I've talked about this in my channel. I call it interlocked chord voicings. But the point I'd like you to keep in mind here is that what I'm doing here is I'm playing a fifth in my left hand and a fifth in my right hand. You can do this with either minor chords or major chords. For example, a C minor 7. Take the E flat and the B flat, play it up an octave, and again you get a voicing in fifth. I'm going to show you a couple of progressions you can play with fifths that are, I think, interesting, and we'll just go over them quickly. The first progression is start with any minor chord. Let's take C minor 7, and then take the fifth in the left hand and transpose it one semitone down. Okay, so you actually still get a voicing in fifth, but this is not a voicing in fifth of C minor 7, but actually of B major 7. And then you can keep going down the scale again, starting with a B minor 7th and going to an A major 7th. And you can go again. So an A flat minor 7th to a G major 7th. And you can keep going down. And I think that's a pretty pleasing sound. Let's take another example. I'm going to play it and then I'm going to comment exactly on what I've played. So technically there were two voicing in fifths here. The first chord is an F minor 7th. Here I have a fifth in both hands. This is technically an A flat major over a bass or over a chord of B flat major in the left hand. But I'm omitting the thirds. And then this last chord has a fifth in the left hand and is an E flat major, but here in the right hand it's actually not a fifth anymore, it's a sixth. So we have this actually also works and gives a nice sound when you substitute the F minor 7th for an F dominant 7th. Technically, this means that you're not going to play a fifth anymore in the right hand, but who cares? It's still a nice sounding chord. Let me show you two more tricks that you can do with voicings in fifths. One more sound I personally like is using fifths to jump between chords, especially chords that are a fourth apart. Let's say that you want to play an E flat major 7th, going to an A flat major 7th, going to a D flat major 7th, going to a G flat major 7th. With voicing in fifths, it would sound this way. So I like this sort of jumping. It gives it a very modern sound. go from an E flat major 7th to an A flat major 7, D flat major 7, G flat major 7, and you can keep going. You don't have to do this only with chords that are a fourth apart. You can do it with pretty much anything. Just try it going between different major 7th chord. One more example is actually achieving a more contemporary pop feel or voicing to your chords using voicing in fifths. This actually uses the fact that you can voice other chords, not just 7th chords, using voicing in fifths. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a C sus2 chord. So it has the notes C, D, and G. I'm going to take this D here and play it up an octave. And you already see I have fifths here, a fifth and a fifth. And I'm going to take these two notes and play them down here. So I have a nice voicing for C sus2 that uses fifths. Well, I can pretty much play any sus2 chord. For example, B flat sus2. Now, let me give you another example. Let's say the C, dominant 7th, or actually minor 7th, sus4. So this has the notes C, F, G, and B flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this F here, play it up an octave, and you see I have 2 fifths right here. The same can be applied to pretty much any sus4 7th chord. For example, the G, sus4 7th chords. Now, watch what happens when I play the progression B flat, D minor, F, and G minor, which I will substitute for G sus4 7th. So you see how this voicing in fifths really gives you this modern sound that you can utilize. At some point I doubled the root. So instead of just playing this in my left hand, I played this where I say double the B flat in this case, or the C in this case. That's it. I hope you've learned some interesting tricks with voicings in fifths. And that you practice them and of course incorporate them into your own playing. I'll see you next time.